See your invitation, please." The tank commander barked out a laugh. "I don't have an invitation," he said, still grinning. "I want to crash the party." "I'm sorry, sir, but the reception is by invitation only." "I'm quite sure the omission of my name from the guest list was inadvertent," the tank commander said. He wasn't grinning anymore. "Do you know who I am, gunnery sergeant?" "No, sir. I haven't had the pleasure." "I am Major General Marston St. Commander of the Diamundian Armed Forces." "Sir." Bong brought his right hand up in a crisp salute, but didn't hold the salute for St. Cyr to return. A very polite insult. "I'm acquainted with your name." St. Cyr's name figured prominently in dispatches about the deteriorating situation on Diamunde, but Bong had never seen an image of him. He was the head of marketing and of research and development, and member of the board of directors of Tubalcain Enterprises, the largest of the corporate powers on Diamunde. "Sir, if the distinguished head of R&D will bear with me for a moment, I will place a call and attempt to secure permission to admit you." "Well, well, St. Cyr," a new voice cut in. Chief of Staff Whittle stepped through the gate. "I see you are as determined as ever to be a thorn in the side of civilized society." As Chief of Staff, he felt he wasn't always required to be as diplomatic as other members of the diplomatic mission. He didn't deign to look at the tanks. "Whithill, so good of you to meet me." There was no humor or friendliness in St. Cyr's voice. "We are coming in, and then the Confederation will recognize Tubalcain Enterprises as the sole legitimate power on Diamunde, and conduct all of its business with me. We will do no such thing. You may come in, but it will be on sufferance. By appearing this way, you will convince the few remaining undecideds how unfit you are as someone to deal with. Drop your weapons and follow me." He spun on his heel and began to stride back into the embassy compound. St. Cyr glared after Whittle for a second, then raised his right arm and sharply brought it down. Almost as one, the 60 tanks fired their main guns, then fired their engines to life and rumbled forward, crashing through the cinder block walls. St. Cyr jumped onto his tank as it began moving forward and was climbing back into its cupola as it ran over the vehicle gate. Very few of the 400 people inside the compound were able to flee before the tanks broke through. None of the Marines were among those few. Nor was the ravishing Honorable Mistress Tong. "Ladies and gentlemen," Cynthia Chang Sturtevant said, "it is my decision after extensive debate and a voice vote of all the members of the Congress present, having obtained a quorum of votes, that we commence military operations immediately against Diamunde and Tubalcain Enterprises." A chorus of angry shouts and denunciations rose from the floor of the Confederation Congress, but they were countered just as loudly by Madam President's supporters on the floor. Fistfights erupted. "Sergeant-at-Arms! Sergeant-at-Arms!" Madam President Chang Sturtevant shouted. It was 20 minutes before the delegates could be quieted down and put back into their seats. When they had quieted down, President Chang Sturtevant tried again. "We have discussed this in the Council and on the open floor of this Congress. We have discussed this decision endlessly. Each of you has had his turn to speak. The talking is now over. By the authority invested in me under the Confederation Constitution, I hereby declare that a state of war now exists between our member worlds and Diamunde." She slammed her gavel on the podium, caught her breath, stepped down and out the door behind the platform into the private chamber behind the podium. "Jesus God," she sighed. "I've never seen the bastard so riled, Marcus." Marcus Barentus, the Confederation Minister of War, smiled and handed her a towel, with which she wiped the perspiration from her face. Madam Chang Sturtevant had been a beauty in her youth, and she still remained a very attractive woman, but there were crow's feet under her eyes now, brown spots on her hands, and the beginning of wrinkles around her neck. She couldn't remember having any of them before she became president of the council. "This war will upset a lot of members' egg baskets, madam."